Hey, what's up? I'm Channel Pup Fanboy Supervillain, and I guess it's time I start talking about Spider-Man 4. MCU Spider-Man 4, to be precise. Don't get excited now, Raimi fanboys. Officially speaking, this project is radio silence, and I'm only going based off of leaks that may or may not be true. This does come from Daniel RPK, though, and he is fairly reputable, gets a lot of stuff right, also gets some stuff wrong from time to time. But the latest is it seems like MCU Spider-Man 4 will be yet another multiverse movie. And I think there is a lot of discussion to be had about that. So, that is what today's video is about. I'm going to be talking about whether or not I think MCU Spider-Man 4 should be a multiverse movie or not. You could probably already answer that question for yourself, to be honest. But you will be surprised by some of the rationale I have to offer. And I guess talk about kind of how likely it is that MCU Spider-Man 4 will be a multiverse movie. So subscribe, Patreon link is in the description below. Hugely appreciated. Thank you so much. I love you. So according to leaks, over the past, year or so, there has been a tug of war between Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios as to what kind of form MCU Spider-Man 4 should take. With Sony Pictures really wanting to capitalize on all of the love towards Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man No Way Home, bringing them back for a new multiverse adventure, and Marvel Studios allegedly wanting to do more of a street-level Spider-Man story. And while at first it does kind of sound like your usual Marvel good, Sony bad story, you kind of got to keep it in your head what these two companies are really in it for. Marvel Studios is, in this regard, effectively a third-party production company. So this particular project is one that they will be approaching with more of a creative mindset, while Sony will be handling more of the corporate stuff, such as what they want in the movie, how much it's projected to make. And I can absolutely imagine that, yeah, after Spider-Man No Way Home, they would probably want to do a bit more of that. And we also understand that over at House Marvel, things are a little weird right now. There's been a lot of major changes to Marvel's plans. Kang is no longer the main villain of the multiverse saga, with Doctor Doom taking up that role. Doctor Doom being played by Robert Downey Jr., and you'll never convince me that was always on the cards. I didn't think things were that bad at House Marvel that they needed to do a stunt like that, but I guess Ant-Man 3 and Captain Marvel 2's box office returns really scared them. There was a period where it was looking like Marvel Studios had maybe won that battle and that MCU Spider-Man 4 would be something a bit more street level, but now we're hearing reports that there have been major rewrites, major overhauls, and that Sony have won the battle, and it's going to be more of a multiverse film. Now again, take these with a grain of salt. We don't know how true these leaks are. It could be that there's no corporate tug of war going on at all between the two companies, and that Marvel and Sony have agreed to do a film about Spider-Man trapped in a giant ball pit, for all we know. But if it does come down to it, and it's between street-level Spider-Man film and multiverse Spider-Man film, which do I think is the most likely to happen of the two? And you're probably not going to like my answer to this, but I think the most likely thing is that MCU Spider-Man 4 will be another multiverse film. Now, I am taking into account kind of where we're at with production and overall schedule. Spider-Man 4 starts filming next year, so it will release at the absolute earliest in the late winter of 2025, but I don't think that's going to happen because absolutely nothing has been said about the film on an official basis just yet, so I think we're really looking at 2026 at the earliest. Given that Avengers Doomsday is set to release in May of 2025, I would imagine that Spider-Man 4 would release in the third quarter of the year, which would be after Avengers Doomsday. The only real way this could be avoided would be if Sony were willing to wait until after Avengers Secret Wars, which would mark, at the soonest, a 6-year gap between live-action Spider-Man movies. And I don't know if I buy them waiting that long. Although there is Beyond the Spider-Verse to account for, which surely that's gotta be coming soon, right? But yeah, there is quite a chance that Spider-Man 4 could release between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and I would imagine Doomsday is going to end on some kind of cliffhanger with Doctor Doom creating Battleworld, and then Secret Wars will be the payoff to that. With Spider-Man 4 slap bang in the middle of that, it would either have to be a prequel to Avengers Doomsday, in which case it would be baffling to release that after Avengers Doomsday, or it would just have to be a multiverse film. I can see the Sony execs smiling right now going, guys, it has to be a multiverse film, I guess. Oopsie daisy. or they've got the biggest shit-eating grin on their face. Now, while us Spider-Man fans are kind of dreading that idea, the rumors are that Secret Wars is going to bring back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all these other multiverse variants that have been built up over the period of the multiverse saga. And let's be real, the general audience is going to absolutely be thrilled about that. That doesn't mean I think it's a great idea, but that is just going to be something that is going to get randos utterly hyped. No judgment from me, all power to them. But okay, here's why on paper, Multiverse Spider-Man 4 does sound like a bad thing. It's, for starters, ignoring the terrific setup at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. We had kind of this forgotten Peter Parker entering the world as a nobody, completely isolated from any human connection, with Spider-Man being his escape from that isolation. Also getting the classic suit. We've got this lonely young man with the weight of the world on his shoulders, who saved his world and his friends at the cost of his whole world and his friends. That in itself sounds like an amazing, potentially very meditative movie. The idea of an MCU Spider-Man film with a more somber tone to it, count me in. And we kind of have set up that very sort of meat and two-veg Spider-Man movie. Peter Parker, the lonely nobody, becoming this larger-than-life superhero swinging around the streets of NYC, defeating bad guys. Something back to basics, something quintessentially Spider-Man. And if we are not doing that for MCU Spider-Man 4, when are we necessarily going to do it? 2026 will mark 10 years since Tom Holland first started playing Spider-Man. Is he realistically going to play him much longer? I'd love it if he did. It would be great to have a very long-term, ongoing, one singular actor play Spider-Man in live action. And it would be amazing to see Tom Holland's Peter Parker age as Tom Holland the real guy does. It's an opportunity for us to get an adult Peter Parker. However, is Tom Holland going to want to do that forever? I know he says he would, but there is such a thing as PR speech. We know the guy wants to start a family, and all power to him, he's got a life of his own. Robert Downey Jr. only played Iron Man for a little over 10 years. Although he is back for more Marvel stuff, just not as Iron Man. This is so weird, dude. This is like, just so weird. But I don't think we should take it for granted that there's going to be tons more Spider-Man films with Tom Holland as Peter Parker after a fourth MCU Spider-Man movie. I might be wrong about it. I don't think we should take it for granted. I'd imagine they'll probably bring in Miles Morales, which I'd be cool with. I do want to get that quintessential Peter Parker Spider-Man film with Tom Holland, though. The other thing is, multiverse fatigue in the superhero genre is real, folks, and it could creep into Spider-Man as well. As in terms of Spider-Man multiverse movie projects, we've got Into the Spider-Verse, No Way Home, Across the Spider-Verse, sometime in the next few decades or so beyond the Spider-Verse. That's 4 Spider-Man films that revolve around the multiverse confirmed already. Are we really going to add a 5th one to the stack? Especially considering that Spider-Man is going to be involved in more multiverse films, what with Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. It would be kind of a read the room thing, you know? The thing is, inevitably, the whole meat and two-veg Spidey thing with the isolation, that's all going to be undercut anyway in some form by him being in an Avengers Ensemble movie the next time we see him. The next time we see MCU Spider-Man is most definitely going to be in Avengers Doomsday, at which point he'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow superheroes again. And that is the problem with Spider-Man being a part of a scheduled movie universe. His stories have to work around whatever Daddy Marvel is doing. Spider-Man Homecoming is all about Spider-Man taking his place as a friendly neighborhood hero, staying close to the ground, then Infinity War takes him to space to fight Thanos alongside Iron Man. That is just unfortunately the way of the MCU. Spider-Man Far From Home is more of a sequel to Avengers Endgame than it is to Spider-Man Homecoming, and odds are that Spider-Man 4 will be more of a sequel to Avengers Doomsday than it is to Spider-Man No Way Home. It's honestly kind of amazing how well they've managed to actually make Tom Holland's Spider-Man arc work within that schedule. But we've certainly missed out on some things, such as the kind of conflict between Peter and Aunt May when she finds out that he's Spider-Man. It's a story that's never been told before and never will be told with this version of Spider-Man, even though the events for that to happen did happen. Now that said, I probably sounded very negative about the idea of Multiversal Spider-Man 4, but I do just want to say this doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world. There's going to be a period of acceptance. If this is a multiverse movie and we get that trailer and yeah, it's the multiverse, there's going to be that acceptance period, and I kind of just want to get started on that, to be honest. Then, if it turns out it is a street-level Spider-Man film, I can be pleasantly surprised. Bit like MJ said in Spider-Man No Way Home, expect disappointment and you'll never be disappointed. Wise words. But okay, potential positives. This could deliver on missed potential from Infinity War. It would have been awesome to have seen some stories taking place during the events of The Blip. A film taking place between the events of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars is a pretty exciting concept. That being said, it's more exciting for Marvel's sake than it is for Spider-Man's sake. But still, that was quite a missed opportunity. 5 years went by between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and we didn't actually get to see anything that happened in that time. We didn't really get to have a feel for how much things had changed for just the general day in the life of these characters. If we had a Spider-Man movie taking place between the events of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, that could lead to some really cool stuff that you wouldn't be able to do at any other time. And they could theoretically do both ideas. Have this film be part multiverse story and part street level story, in that you could kind of flash backwards and forwards between Peter on Doctor Doom's battle world and Peter in the last days of Earth as we knew it. You would just have to make them thematically cohesive, which is absolutely possible. Maybe have it so that Peter has to kind of overcome his grief and loneliness in order to overcome the threat of this film, and it kind of links back to his experiences as a lonely guy back on Earth. Bit like, say, Batman Mask of the Phantasm did with Batman's origin story and how it wove that into the mystery of the Phantasm. You could do a similar thing here, and I know it sounds like a lot to cram into a movie, but if Mask of the Phantasm could do it in 76 minutes, then I'd imagine MCU Spider-Man 4 with a runtime of probably over 2 hours could probably nail this. It's all about the pacing, and to be fair, Spider-Man No Way Home did an excellent job combining a multiverse story with the story of Peter dealing with the reveal of his secret identity. So theoretically, they could combine these ideas. It's just all about how they'd pace it, and that thematic cohesion. Also, the idea of a Spider-Man movie being a smaller, character-centric story taking place on a cosmic battlefield is honestly just kinda cool. And if the rumors are to be believed that Avengers Doomsday would bring in other multiverse variants, this would present an opportunity for a from-the-jump Spider-Verse movie featuring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield as main characters, rather than them just being supporting cast confined to the third act like they were in Spider-Man No Way Home. They could feature Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the marketing this time too, leading to some more fun posters and a lot of trailer hype. These three had great chemistry, and just seeing them together on screen again would be cool. Now, with each MCU Spider-Man movie having its very own unique backdrop, has characterized each film in a unique way in the Home trilogy, to a point where I can't really choose a favorite between Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, as they all have such unique points of focus. The closest thing we have to that street-level NYC Spider-Man film is Spider-Man Homecoming. But that's honestly for the most part confined to Queens, and thematically is more about Spider-Man finding his place in the MCU more than anything else. But having a film that takes place mostly in Queens, having a film that takes place mostly in Europe, and having a film that takes place mostly in Doctor Strange's basement did allow these three movies to all have their own unique identity, so I can't just point to one and say, yeah, that's the best one, because they're all so unique and I do like that, and this would be an opportunity to continue that trend with this one taking place on this cosmic psychedelic battlefield. It'd be like a feature-length version of Revolt in the Fifth Dimension. Imagine the three Spideys battling out with tentacles and giant eyeballs and creepy alien snakes. That could honestly be kind of awesome. This could also be a decent excuse to bring Tom Hardy's Venom back one last time, to finally meet all three Spider-Men as well. They're clearly not doing that in Venom: The Last Dance, and they have for years talked about how Tom Hardy's Venom would eventually meet Spider-Man, so how cool would it be to have him meet all three? All of this sounds like a really, really fun movie. This could be really exciting. The problem is, my desire to see a meat and two-veg Spidey film ultimately overrides my excitement about any of that, And the timing is just unfortunate as well, given how Spider-Man No Way Home ends, but at the same time, between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars is the only time they could do this particular story here, so maybe they might want to take that opportunity and save street-level Spidey for later. And you might be wondering, why do we need a meat and two-veg Spider-Man film? As, you know, we've got that with the Tobey Maguire trilogy or the Andrew Garfield movies. And the reason I would say so is because I think Spidey's most important relationship is the relationship between him and NYC. And we haven't seen Tom Holland's Spider-Man build that relationship with NYC. He's swung through it a few times. He had a decent enough relationship with the residents of Queens in Spider-Man Homecoming, but again, that is just one borough. We haven't seen Spider-Man as this champion of Manhattan. And I don't need that to happen immediately. I'm happy to take these fun, unique detours, but it needs to happen eventually. Maybe that could be a good capstone for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Although naturally, we got to do the black suit storyline, which we could probably do in the Secret Wars, given that that's where he got the black suit in the comic books. But we've got so much we still have to do here. Maybe Tom Holland will stick around forever, who knows? To be honest though, every idea that excites me about Multiversal Spider-Man 4 is something that one of the Avengers films could easily do. Plus, we do have the animated Spider-Verse movies, which are telling that more cosmic scale story. I kind of feel like maybe it's time to just leave the multiverse to those animated movies. After all, they have had the best use of the multiverse in a superhero movie by far. I guess what I would say is this: if MCU Spider-Man 4 is going to be a multiverse movie, go all in. Make it this psychedelic cosmic joyride, with the 3 Spider-Men and Venom navigating a quest in the battle world, fighting against alien snakes, giant eyeballs, tentacles, and all of that good stuff. And I tell you what, if they wanted to get Sam Raimi back, I reckon he could excel at that kind of stuff. And have all of that tie in thematically to Peter's loneliness. Maybe in the end, the battle world could kind of serve as like a parallel, a very physical version of the kind of feelings that Peter is navigating. If they get the right writers in, they can do anything and make it work. I get we're all tired of the multiverse, and I get that we're all hankering for that classic Spider-Man movie, but this might be their only opportunity to tell a story like this. So while I do prefer the concept of a street-level Spider-Man film, this could be a decent enough way around it. It doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world. But now I'm gonna hand it over to you guys. What do you think? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, with a special shout out going to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. Their names are Cho Henshin, KB, RT0, Calx, Hypes, Sad Goku, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Mr. SP, Biotin. Oh no, I've used up all the helium, what am I meant to do now? And Vera Wild. Thank you, good folks, so much for your generosity, and to those of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.